Hey guys, so I'm back in Baltimore. I decided to check out the Baltimore Flea Market. Now, I will tell you, parking is street parking. It took me about 20 minutes to find street parking, and I'm about to walk about 2 blocks to get to the flea market. So just keep that in mind if you think about coming down to check it out. It's about an hour from DC. I live by the National Harbor, if you're familiar with that, and it took me an hour and a half to get here on a Sunday. So if you're planning, just to give you some ideas of how long it will take you, parking and all of that. So let's check it out and see what we find today. When you visit the Baltimore Flea, it is very easy to get overwhelmed. There are so many treasures to find, from albums to jewelry, custom designs, so many different vintage sports apparel and custom Kuji sweaters, you name it, you can find it down here. So many goodies to choose from. It's definitely worth the drive. I am back in the car, guys. So what an awesome experience, right? Did you see all those goodies? OMG. And today I coveted the one thing I have been looking for so long, a varsity jacket with my initial on it and my favorite color. God really smiled on me today. That was the only thing I walked away with. I'm gonna show you guys in my next clip, but let me just tell you how super excited that made me. As soon as I saw it, I didn't even care what it cost. I was like, I'm getting it. So one thing to keep in mind when you come to the Baltimore Flea Market, it is not the thrift store. It is definitely not the thrift store. These are vintage resellers, and they will price things accordingly. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I know this is DMV finds on a dime, but there are a lot of times that if it's vintage and really truly authentic vintage, it is worth the price. Some things are worth the price. Some things you could probably get them from somewhere else, but that's where I come in, because I'm also on the hunt for some quality vintage items that are at a reasonable price. So come along with me on this journey. We gonna get it this year, okay? We are gonna get it. But in the next clip, I'm gonna show you this varsity jacket. Well, this is the coveted varsity jacket that I was so excited that I got at Baltimore Flea. However, the last couple of days I sent it to the cleaners. I just got it back yesterday and I am like really disappointed. It looks like they washed it. I'm dealing with that. But what I will tell you, I don't regret the purchase. I'm going to see how I can salvage it. It was already very fragile, and I thought by sending it to the cleaners, it was in good hands. Apparently, it was not. The lettering on my K has separated. It wasn't like that when I bought it. I wish I took a picture of it beforehand so I could have shown you guys what it looked like before I sent it off to the cleaners. That's a lesson learned. I will tell you, a lot of vintage items are very delicate. So as we're out here shopping for vintage stuff, figuring out how to launder it, I would have been better off just spot cleaning it myself at home, which that is something that I'm going to look into. So that was education, a trial and error for me. The sleeves were already fraying, which I was okay with that because I was just excited that I finally found a vintage varsity jacket that actually had a K and I didn't have to just wear some random letter that didn't mean anything. But stay tuned. I am going to try to salvage it. I did look online and there is a formula that you can find to kind of get rid of bleeding. So I'm going to first do that. If that doesn't work, then I might end up just completely dyeing the entire varsity jacket red, which red is my favorite color. So I'll probably, maybe that's how I need to reimagine this jacket, and it would just kind of make it better. The lettering, I can sew a little bit. I used to sew in high school. It's been 30 years, but some basic things you just never forget. So I am gonna try to re-sew the lettering back on there to make sure it's firmly on there. But I'm gonna keep you guys posted. I might actually vlog that as well, me on this journey restoring this varsity jacket. So, but I still love it, guys. I was still happy, still had an awesome time at Baltimore Flea. It is definitely a vibe. I will post the address so you guys, if you're in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area, so that you guys can visit. They only have events once a month. It's typically, I think it's like the last Saturday of the month, but I'll post more information about it, guys. But just wanted to let you know how it went and everything. So that is it for today's episode, you guys. Again, as always, thank you for following me. Thank you for subscribing. Any comments, suggestions, or anything, please drop it down in the comments in regards to, restoring or caring for a vintage. And I think the lady told me like this is like from like the 1960s or something. So it's very, very old. So that's another thing when you're, again, vintage items, they require a different level of care, especially if they're starting to kind of fray and fall apart. But I'm on a mission to restore it. I found it for a reason, so I am going to completely work with it. So have a good one, you guys, and I'll see you on the next episode.